Good morning. I'm Meryl Maleska Wilbur. As your worship associate for today, I welcome one and all to our church and to our worship service. If any of you are joining us for the first time, we invite you to stop at the visitors table in the vestibule after the service. There you can find information to take with you about the First Religious Society and about Unitarian Universalism. We also hope you will pick up copies of our ministers' previous sermons, which can be found on shelves near the front door. You can also find out more about us on our website, frsuu.org, and on Facebook. We encourage you to connect with any of our members or staff and with our minister, Reverend Rebecca Bryan, so that we can get to know you. Everyone is invited to join us after the service for coffee and conversation in the parish hall next door, which is the white building to that side. Those who have name tags are encouraged to wear them, both as a way to strengthen our community and as a welcoming gesture to newcomers. And if you don't have a name tag and would like one, just stop by the visitors table on the way out and leave your name. One can be made for you. We encourage everyone's participation in all of our activities and all of our endeavors. And we invite each of you into this, our shared ministry, which takes place within our church community and outside these walls. On that subject, I call your attention to the announcements of meetings, classes, and events listed in the Here's What's Going On section of your order of service. Please take a moment to look through these listings. I'd like to take this opportunity to introduce our guest today, Zach Field. Zach has been the director and proprietor of a successful percussion studio at the Tannery in Newburyport for more than a decade. 6 years ago, he also became the proprietor of the Musical Suite, which is also located at the Tannery. This year, he opened a second location in the Trades Mill in Amesbury. The studios are now called Zach Field Drums and Music. They employ 30 teachers and have roughly 550 students who take weekly lessons. Zach graduated from the University of Massachusetts in Lowell with a bachelor's degree in music performance. He served as director of percussion for the Pentucket Regional School District, where he taught for many years. He has also taught percussion at Salem State University and has been a guest lecturer at UMass Lowell. At present, in addition to running the two music studios, he performs with several local drum groups. In 2010, Zach began the Gong Meditation Project as a means of helping himself and others find ways to escape from the everyday stresses of life. After years of attempting silent meditation, he found that playing soothing pitched gongs enhanced the meditation process by helping distract the mind and encouraging a relaxed state. Today, he will provide a brief history of his own journey into using gongs and will offer some meditation tips. And then he will invite us to engage in a 20-minute gong meditation. We're delighted, once again, to welcome Zach to our church today. And I'd also like to offer a special thank you to Laura Hargrove, who will be providing the music for today's service. It is good to be together. The opening words this morning are from Wendell Berry. When despair for the world grows in me, and I wake in the night at the least sound in fear of what my life and my children's lives may be, I go and lie down where the wood drake rests in his beauty on the water and the great heron feeds. I come into the peace of wild things who do not tax their lives with forethought of grief. I come into the presence of still water, and I feel above me the day-blind stars waiting with their light. For a time, I rest in the grace of the world and am free. At this time, I would like to invite forward Bettina and David Turner, who will light our chalice and our candles of peace.
So the words of the chalice lighting are written in your order of service. Let us say these together. We gather this hour as people of faith, with joys and sorrows, gifts and needs. We light this beacon of hope, sign of our quest for truth and meaning in celebration of the life we share together.
Each week, we also light 2 candles of peace, representing 2 places on earth we lift up and remember as a sacred encounter with our world. There are untold number of places on earth that need peace. These 2 we especially hold close in this service and through the week ahead. After each candle is lit, After each candle is lit, we will speak the words for peace in English, Arabic, and Hebrew. Peace, salam, shalom. Our first candle is lit for the Jewish neighborhoods and communities in Brooklyn, New York, that have recently seen an alarming rise in anti-Semitic hate crimes, and just yesterday in a horrific knife attack in a New York suburb. In the words of one community organizer, you fight darkness with light. Peace, salam, shalom. Our second candle is lit for the nearly 50% of American households who are unable to share in the acclaimed stock market boom because they do not have any stock investments. Many are living paycheck to paycheck and working harder and longer hours just to keep afloat. Peace, salam, shalom. And this morning, to mark the final day of Hanukkah, Rachel Yee and Susan Cooper will light the menorah, and Rachel will offer several Hebrew prayers.
Thank you. Okay, yes, that's day 8. I don't know if you guys can see the menorah. I would like to lift it up so people can see it. Oh, there we go. Isn't it awesome with all 8 candles in it? Super cute. I love it. Okay. Oh, sure. Okay. So you're going to light the shamash, right? And then take it out. our lead candle. And then after I say the prayers, you're going to light the candles from right to left, all 8 of them, and not set the church on fire. Okay. The right of the menorah. Yeah. Okay. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kiddushanu b'mitzvotah v'tzivanu lahadlak ner shel Hanukkah.
Praised are you, Lord our God, ruler of the universe, who has sanctified us with commandments and commanded us to light Hanukkah candles.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam she'asa nasim la'avotenu bayamim chachem bazaman hazeh.
Praised are you, Lord our God, ruler of the universe, who has performed miracles for our ancestors in those days in this season.
Happy Hanukkah, y'all.
You want to hold it up, or maybe the candle? Thank you. Our first hymn this morning is number 55, Dark of Winter. Please rise and remain standing to say together our affirmation of faith and to sing the doxology. Love is the doctrine of this church. The quest of truth is its sacrament, and service is its prayer. To dwell together in peace, to seek knowledge in freedom, to serve humankind in fellowship, to the end that all souls shall grow into harmony with the divine. Thus do we covenant with each other and with God. All that dwell below the stars, you may be seated. Our responsive reading for this morning is number 662, Strange and Foolish Walls, in the back of your hymnal. The years of all of us are short, our lives precarious. Yet we find time for bitterness, for petty treason and evasion. Here we are, all of us, all upon this planet, bound together in a common destiny. Kindred in this, each lighted by the same precarious, flickering flame of life. How does it happen that we are not kindred in all things else? As an act of worship and as a symbol of our dedication, the morning offering will now be given and received. Please note that this month, half of the unpledged cash contribution will be donated to the Community Action, Inc. Energy Program, which provides assistance with heating based on household size and income to residents of 11 towns in the greater Newburyport area. This is the time in our service where we pause to share concerns related to members and friends of our congregation, such as rites of passage and prayers for those in need. We remember all those in our community who are struggling with issues of health and well-being. We remember this morning all those who, for whatever reason, bring a special concern for a friend or a loved one. In particular today, Judy Murphy asks that we hold her brother Robert Murphy in our prayers. He is recuperating from a fall. May we hold in the silence of our hearts all of those joys and sorrows which remain unspoken or unnamed, as we pause in quiet recognition of our shared community and strive to build together the beloved community of hope and memory. There are two readings this morning. Both are from Mary Oliver, her book of essays called Winter Hours. Mary Oliver died in January of 2019, and these readings are both in honor of her life and in celebration of the beauty of her writing. The first reading is taken from The Storm, and the second is Put Yourself in the Way of Grace. The storm. We hear on the forecast that it may snow or it may rain, and there will be high wind. Certainly there is wind. The rest passes out to sea, but the wind is sufficient. Clap of invisible hands, and all the winds together, those breezy brothers, they are on their way. The storm comes on an incoming tide. It therefore grows in power for the 6 hours of flashing tumble and shove toward us. The wind pounds. It can't be pounding. There is nothing to pound, no opposition, just molten slabs of water as ocean rolls its bales of brightness to the shore where they smash hugely row after row. Yet it is the pounding of the wind that one hears. Fences creak and flap, doorways whistle, loose objects thump down or fly off porches or roll down beach. But the noise of loosening and rolling is as nothing compared to the outpouring, the lashing and whistling from both above and below, ocean and skyloft both. It is a many-layered choir. The sopranos shriek, the altos follow in disharmony. The chesty tenors and baritones fling out their notes of brass. The basses make great black O's of their lips and simply unceasingly exhale. The ranks of the waves, dark, white-bearded, and sand-filled as they roll in their turn up the beach and toward us, never hurry, never hesitate, never stop coming. For hours it continues, still dreadful and beautiful. It is frightening, too, fraught with peril for anything so minor as a house or so breakable as a human person. Sometimes the surface takes on a tarnished glow as it heaves and throws the white spume skyward. One could be standing in the same place by the same sea 1,000 years ago. In spite of the motion and the noise, that glow releases something strangely peaceful. It is not unlike the calm that one reaches in the deepest influence of great art, where the spirit senses the purest of mysteries, power without anger, injury without malice. For nature and art are in this way twins. They are both beautiful and dreadful, and in love with change. Then it is close to high tide. A small blue boat appears, bumping the seawall. A forlorn sight. One can hardly believe it is inanimate. It seems to strive so against collision and to wince with each knock of the waves that sends it roughly against the wall. The bow turns and turns as if in an effort to escape. It is swamped and without hope. We could go out and perhaps get our hands on the dragging line, but we could not hold it against the storm's force. It lurches on, the west wind wild behind as it pitches to the east, bumping and bumping against the seawall. Then it is out of sight. Then the sea, at crest, a full flood, lifts itself. It flies, it enters the yard. Like long, great silver draperies with wide pleats opening and sizzling, the waves rise and shake themselves in bright flounces over the seawall. The water is so loaded with sand that with each vanishing of the fallen wave, the yard appears newly made. The sprawled waves erase all history. Footprints, dog tracks, litter. It is all scoured and laid over with the cleanest grains. So, at the 6th hour, the ocean arrives and soaked the roses and flung spray to the deck. And then it said, "Not this time." And still screaming, but with each wave, a less dreadful scream, it began to descend. So the storm passed this time. And the second reading is called Put Yourself in the Way of Grace. Put yourself in the way of grace, says a friend of ours who is a monk and a bishop, and he smiles his floating and shining smile. And truly, can there be a subject of more interest to each of us than whether or not grace exists and the soul? And consequent upon the existence of the soul, a whole landscape of incorruptible forces, perhaps even a source, an almost palpably suggested second universe, a world that is incomprehensible through reason. To believe in the soul, to believe in it exactly as much and as heartily as one believes in a mountain, say, or a fingernail, whichever is in view, imagine the consequences. How far-reaching and thoroughly wonderful. For everything by such a belief would be transformed and would be changed and charged. You wake in the morning, the soul exists. Your mouth sings it, your mind accepts it. And the perceived tactile world is, upon that instant, only half the world. How easily I travel about halfway through such a scenario. I believe in the soul, in mine and yours and the blue jays and the pilot whales. I believe each goldfish flying away over the coarse ragweed has a soul. And the ragweed, too, plant by plant, and the tiny stones in the earth below, and the grains of the earth itself. Not romantically do I believe this, nor poetically, nor emotionally, nor metaphorically, except as all reality is metaphor, but steadily, lumpishly, and absolutely. The wild waste spaces of the sea and the pale dunes with one hawk hanging on the wind, they are for me the formal spaces that, in a liturgy, are taken up by prayer, song, sermon, silence, homily, scripture, the architecture of the church itself. And as with prayer, which is a dipping of oneself toward the light, there is a consequence of attentiveness to the grass itself and the sky itself and to the floating bird, I too leave the fret and enclosure of my own life. I too dip toward the immeasurable. So end the readings. Our second hymn for this morning is number 83, Winds Be Still.
Morning. My name is Zach Field, in case we haven't met before. Marilyn and I were talking today, and I said, I was looking back in my calendar. I think this is like maybe our 5th year doing this. And she said, oh, no. This is way more than that. She remembered my daughter was maybe just born, so we believe that this is 7. My daughter's 7 now, so. And if you had told me back then, 7 years ago, I would pull my back out playing checkers with my daughter about a week ago, it's ridiculous. So if I look a little crooked, I was literally playing checkers. I stood up, and yeah, it's just weird. But I've just been telling myself, you know what? Without feeling any pain, you won't feel great. You know what feeling good is when your body's feeling good. So anyways, just so you know. Okay, so I kind of tell the same story every year, so I'm going to tell it a little different. I'm going to abbreviate the first part and then go to current day. So I'm a percussionist, performer, slightly an entrepreneur as well. It just kind of happened that way on a music school, and it just keeps on growing, and I can't seem to stop that from happening. I'm trying to, but I can't. Many years ago, I've taught throughout the Pawtucket School District for many years, off and on, and I go to this big conference every year, percussion conference in Indianapolis, and I saw all these gongs, packaged them up, took a cab to UPS and shipped them home. My wife was like, what the heck is this? Every time I go to this conference, I buy $20,000 worth of steel drums, gongs. So these things show up, and I said, no, I've got this plan. Like, you know, I've been trying to meditate because I love work. I play drums and teach drums. Like, how lucky am I? Like, that's all I want to do. But stressful always trying to work and build things or whatever. So I figured, if I played some gongs, and I would be kind of working but relaxing at the same time. So at this time, I was teaching middle school percussion ensembles. and it was after school, so any middle schooler after school is just impossible, right? And now picture a bunch of drummers, 13 in a class after school, middle schoolers, brutal. But I loved them, it was my choice. So I brought these gongs in, and I'm abbreviating this for those who have heard this before because I want to get the current day. I brought these gongs in to these kids at the end of our rehearsal, right before, like it was about 4 o'clock, 5 o'clock when they're getting ready to get picked up by their parents. I said, give me 10 minutes. You're going to sit here, you're going to be quiet, I'm going to play these gongs. Now, come on. They're laughing, they're like, I can't even sit still. So I just started playing these things for about 10 minutes, silent. They like melted in their chairs. And then I stopped playing after the 10 minutes. I'm like, all right, you guys get out of here, and nobody moved. And I'm like, wow. And they loved it. They absolutely loved it. And I'm sitting there thinking, like, oh, what are the parents going to think when they show up in their car and they're like so relaxed? They're going to think I like drugged them, something. So that's when I realized, all right, cool. This is something cool. Let's see what I can do with this. So I just do it I primarily play it at Repose Yoga. We do classes. I play some gongs, and it's just fun. It's just fun. So that's how I ended up here. Now, don't be fooled. I am not a relaxed, non-stressed person, okay? It's just not who I am. And when my wife, before she really got to know me, she's like, oh, I thought you were just this, like, peace-loving hippie making tambourines, and then I got to know you, and you're so uptight. So this leads me to current day. People look at meditation, and including myself, and think, well, I can't stop thinking. Like, I got to be moving. I got to always be doing stuff. I can't meditate. Well, hello? That's the reason why we try to do this. I struggle with it whenever I try to meditate. Silent meditation, like to sit for 10 minutes and do nothing and be quiet, is torture for me. I don't know. I mean, when is the last time you actually just sat and did nothing? And that brings me to current day when my daughter, 7 years old, we've been on break for the past week or so, and she's doing something, and then 5 minutes later, she's like, I'm bored. Are you serious? We just played Mancala for like a half hour, and now we're at this. And so it happened that I just read an article about being bored, and kids and adults, and just think about that for a second. Like, it's okay to be bored. But you think, like, when was the last time you allowed yourself to be bored? Right? Like, your thoughts kind of wander a little bit. You may think of things you don't want to think about. So I've been trying really hard lately just to be bored. And I've been letting my daughter be bored because you know what? That's when she's the most creative. She'll go and sit and play the piano. She'll go and draw or whatever. Rather than the easiest thing nowadays is just to hand a kid a device, or for the adult to pick up their device. So I am just allowing myself to be bored. So I'm no preacher, I'm no healer, I'm just an average person who's stressed out and anxious all the time, okay? Today, these gongs are just here to help people just be here in the moment. And people have this fear of meditation. That's why I like to call it relaxation. Who doesn't want to relax? So we're here just to relax. I'm giving you permission to relax. I get to relax. People ask me, well, when you're doing this, what's going on with you? I'm so relaxed. It's so nice. I sit here and just see what happens and create a moment for everybody. So, don't look at meditation like I have to not think. Oh, great, I'm thinking about what I got to do. Just let the thoughts come in your head. They're going to present themselves, and then hopefully the gongs will just kind of redirect you in. Just let it be. Just let it be. But just give yourself permission to be here right now. We're here for 20 minutes. Now, don't freak out that the 20 minutes is going to go by very fast, I promise you. And as I start playing, you're going to hear different creaks. They're much more present than they normally would. And just be. It's okay. We're just going to enjoy 20 minutes. And at the end, you're going to hear these little dings. And that'll be the end. All right? Here's to a bored, very boring new year. Okay? And nothing will be too loud, so you will not be startled. So don't wait for like a huge gong. It is not going to happen.
always the hardest part of service is coming out of that quiet trance. Our final hymn is number 123, Spirit of Life, and we're going to sing this through 3 times. Please rise as you can. Let us say together the unison benediction found in your order of service. May the love which overcomes all differences, which heals all wounds, which puts to flight all fears, reconciles all who are separated, be in us and among us, now and always.